Okay, so welcome to Yin, and I'll have you start off in a seated pose to bring yourself to your practice. Find a spot where the legs are lying in front of you. If you want, you could cross ankles, but then that'll set one hip a little bit higher. So see if you can have your legs lie in front of you. And then let's bring the palms together, rub them together. And then bring the hands to heart center. You can close your eyes or find a soft gaze. And let's take 5 deep cycles of breath, just bringing ourselves to the mat first. And once you've completed your 5, you can always rest your hands into your lap. And I'll give you a choice. You can stick with the long cycles of breath that you can take with you through the next 75 minutes, or you can start working on your Ujjayi breath, that audible breath. So you take the inhale in through the nose. At the top of the inhale, constrict the back of the throat, and then exhale out through the nose. So it's loud. Taking your another inhale. I'll do a couple of rounds of Ujjayi, but I'm going to bow out for this practice. We'll be here in some meditative pose for about 4 minutes. And while you're here, I just want you to notice how you're breathing, how it's filling your body. And then just notice how you release your exhale. And pay attention to at the pauses at the top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. And try not to assign value to them, but just notice them. That's all. about the halfway point. So if you allowed your mind to drift off, just bring it back. Bring it back to your breath and notice the depth and the rate. You're in your last minute of your meditation or your seated meditation. You can take this with you. Try to see if you can elongate the breath cycle. So taking just a little bit longer of an inhale and releasing just a little bit more on the exhale. And then maybe sigh out your next exhale. Bring the bottoms of the feet together like a book. You're in your butterfly pose. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do to gauge what you need. You can wrap a strap around your feet and around your waist. You can place blocks underneath your knees. You can stay here. The closer you bring your heels to the pubic bone, you can gauge just kind of the depth of what's going on in the adductors or the inner thigh, or you may feel like you want to bring your heels further away. So gauge where you want to be. You'll be here for the next 5 minutes, okay? And there's a couple of things you can do. You can stay nice and tall. You can fold forward, keeping the sit bones rooted down, or you can even recline back if you wish, okay? And then reclining back would be the back totally onto the ground. So I'll let you pick what works for you. I'm gonna stay high. Knowing that you'll be here for the next 5 minutes, just give yourself 10 more seconds to suss around, knowing that I'm minding the time, and that I'll give you the halfway point. So if you change your mind halfway through, you can always adjust. Okay, so let's begin. point. So if you decide that you want to fold, recline, or come back tall, you may. Take your final cycle of breath in this pose. And then slowly start extending one leg long, followed by the other. And move any love you have behind you so that the sit bones are rooted down onto the mat. The heels are planted, the toes are up. You'll come into a seated forward fold for the next 7 minutes, which is a caterpillar pose. And you may not want to keep your legs together. So let's play around here for the first 10 seconds. Reaching your arms up high to the sky. Take your full inhale. Fold as you exhale. Stay here for a cycle of breath. And then walk yourself up and take your feet a little bit wider. Maybe the legs are as wide as the mat. So you have a little abduction going on, okay? Reach the arms up high to the sky. Once again, full inhale, and then fold as you exhale. Stay here for a cycle of breath. And then if you're good here, stay here for the next 7 minutes. But if you're like, I really appreciated having my legs together with the fold, come back up and reset, okay? So knowing that we'll be here for the next 7 minutes, I'll give you a halfway point. Find the spot where you can be in stillness. Return back to your breath. That will help guide you. And I'll give you some checks and cues along the way, but let's find some stillness together. You're a few minutes in. Really press down and out through the heels, keeping the legs activated. And slide the shoulders down and away from the ears. Give some space in the throat. You're at about a halfway point here. So see if your next exhale can sink you just a little deeper. And then return back to the breath that you set at the beginning of your practice. Let that breath carry you. You're coming into the last 30 seconds. Taking your final cycle of breath in this pose, let your inhale guide you up, sitting up nice and tall. Great. Okay, next is fire log. So place the left leg down in front of you and then lay your right leg on top and take the right ankle over the left knee and flex both toes. So it's also known as double pigeon, and you might need a blanket underneath the knee. And then bring the arms out to a T. From here, bring the left arm in front of you and bring the right arm on top. You can stay here in your figure 4, or you can find your way into eagle arm. So the palms are touching each other, or you can go back with a hand. But I like to place the left thumb on my third eye. Okay. And then I don't worry so much about having the elbows at shoulder height, as more as just keeping the shoulders drawn down and away from the ears. Now you'll be here for 5 minutes, and I'll give you the halfway point, because halfway through you might want to unroll your arms or de-eagle your arms, okay? And if the eagle arm variation isn't working for you, you can always come into fire log with the arms, or have them rest down to the side, or you can always fold forward. Okay, so let's begin. Return back to your breath. You're at about a halfway point. You're in your last minute. So within this last minute, see if you can give yourself a body scan of maybe where you're holding some tension or clenching. And send your breath there. See if you can release. And then take your final cycle of breath. Unravel the arms. Maybe give yourself a shoulder shrug. And then place your feet flat onto the mat. Hands come behind or to the side, and windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And then slowly make your way onto your tabletop pose. And then tuck under toes and come into downward dog for 10 big cycles of breath. So your feet can be wide. You can make movement if you would like for the first 5 breaths, but then find stillness in the last 5. One more cycle of breath. And have your feet come about hip distance apart if you took them wide. Send your right leg high to the sky, 3-legged downward dog, and then step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Okay, and then drop your left knee here. This is your dragon foot pose. So you can tuck under the toes and maybe walk the left knee back a little bit or keep the left knee forward. Staying here, total will be here for about 5 minutes, but let's stay high for the first 2 so you can ease into it. And then, for the last 3, there's a choice I'm going to give you. So stay with me here high. See if you can really root down more on the feet than into the wrists of the palms. See if you can sink the quad, the left quad. 30 more seconds. Okay, with this next 3 minutes, I'm giving you three choices. One, you can stay here. Two, you can lower deeper into your dragon pose, so bringing forearms onto the mat. Or if you're like, you need a little more gentleness in the hip, you can heel toe the right foot over, coming into pigeon or swan pose for the next 3 minutes. So yogi's choice. I'll choose to go low, but you choose what you need. Thirty more seconds. And then in the last 15 seconds, if you took a swan or a low dragon, slowly bring yourself back up so you're high with the right foot to the outside of the right hand. And then slowly meet with the right knee onto the mat into a tabletop pose. Take a cow. Take a cat. And then take a seat back onto your mat. All right. Switching sides. Come back into your fire log pose. So the right leg is on the bottom, and this time the left leg is on top. And I want you to gauge how close your legs need to be to the pubic bone. What do you need in the inner thighs? Sitting up nice and tall. Knowing that you'll be here for the next 5 minutes, bring your arms out to a T. Right arm in front of you, left arm on top, figure four. You can stay here or you can find your eagle arm variation. Knowing that we'll be here for the next 5 minutes. So stay with your breath. halfway through. Coming into your last cycle of breath here, take a nice full inhale. Sigh out your exhale and release your arms. Maybe give yourself some nice shoulder shrugs. And then placing the feet flat onto the mat again, windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And then slowly finding your way back into your downward dog. Once again, staying here for 10 big cycles of breath. Last breath here. Bringing the feet about hip distance apart. Lift the left leg high and step the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Slowly drop your right knee, coming into your dragon pose. Knowing we'll be here for 5 minutes, but for the first two, we're staying high just to, ease the hips into this. So tuck under the right toes and see if the knee needs to come forward or back. Really focus on pressing the left big toe into the mat. Settle in. Okay, for the next 3 minutes, you have choices. You can stay here, you can find your swan or pigeon, or you can come low. But no matter where you choose to go, see if you can find your spot of stillness and then really let go and not clench in any muscles to promote decreasing tension. Last minute here. And then slowly, if you're in swan or low dragon, make your way back up. We'll finish off a few cycles of breath here in our high dragon together. And then from here, tuck under your right toes and send your left leg back to meet right, downward dog pose. And then walk your feet to just the back and outside of your hands. So it's not a true forward fold and it's not a true wide-legged forward fold. And bend the knees, allow the head to drop, coming into a dangle pose. Three more breaths. And then as you exhale, slowly start dropping the bum, maybe turning out the toes and finding your Malasana or garland squat. But take your time, bringing the palms together, bringing the heart forward. You'll be here for the next minute. So even if you wanted to place your hands on the ground, you can. And then take 3 deep cycles of breath, maybe sighing out your exhale here. And then drop the bum down. Turn away here for a second. The knees are flat. The feet are flat, the knees are up. Slowly tuck the chin into the chest and lower down 1 vertebra at a time. And once you get here, take your feet as wide as the mat. And once again, drop the knees over to the left side. Bring them back up and allow them to drop over to the right side. Windshield wipering the legs. And then send your legs long, creating a nice stretch in the side body. You'll come into your banana asana. So bring the arms up overhead. Take a hold of the right wrist with the left hand. Reach the right arm up and then slowly start side bending over to the left side. So you're guiding your right arm over to the left, and then you'll guide your legs over to the left as well. So you have this C-shaped spine going. And we'll be here for about 4 minutes, believe it or not. So while you're here, I want you to see if you can find some ease in the side body where you're not clenching to bring the left side together, but that you're using the left side contraction to lengthen the right side. So if you have to shimmy around a little bit, ease out or deepen it, be welcome to it, and we will begin. You're at the halfway point. Take your final cycle of breath here. And then slowly bring yourself long so the arms are up overhead, the legs are straight. And I want you to reach the right arm away from the right foot. And then let it relax and then reach the left arm away from the left foot. Let it relax. All right. Slowly switching sides. So take a hold of the left wrist in the right hand, zipping the legs together. Slowly start side bend over to the right. Once again, it's not about creating this tight C shape and contracting the muscles. It's more or less like using the C shape as a guideline so you can lengthen the side body on the left side. And I want you to be mindful that you're not crunching and leaning too much onto the left side here. Knowing you'll be here for the next 4 minutes, then I'll give you a halfway point. You're at your halfway point. Take your final cycle of breath here. Once again, bring yourself long back onto your mat, bringing the arms up overhead. This time, extend the left foot away from the left hand. Relax, right foot away from the right hand. And relax. All right, hug the knees into the chest. Gently rock from side to side. And then you can keep the knees together or have the knees come slightly wide. Arms come out to a T. And then gently and carefully bring the knees over to the right side, giving yourself a supine twist here. See if you can reach fingertips away from each other. See if you can soften your legs onto the ground. And then when you're ready, look over the left shoulder if you want a deeper twist. And the right hand on the left knee. Staying here for 3 minutes. Take your final cycle of breath here. Maybe sigh out the exhale. Let your inhale guide you back into center, hugging the knees into the chest. Giving them a nice strong squeeze. And then keeping the knees the same distance. So if you had them together, keep them together. If you had them wide, keep them wide. Arms come back out to a T. And then drop the knees over to the left side. And once they've settled, reach the fingertips away from each other. And then take the gaze over the right shoulder for your supine twist. Taking your final cycle of breath. Slowly bring yourself back into center. Hugging the knees into the chest and then taking hold of the bottoms of the feet. Finding your happy baby pose here. Now you can be in stillness, or if you feel like you need to rock from side to side, that's okay. And then slowly bring the knees together. Coming into your final pose of Shavasana, sending one leg long, then the other. Reach the arms up overhead. Give yourself a full body stretch, but then bring your arms down to the side like you were making a snow angel. Wave the heels from side to side and then come into your Shavasana pose. I'm minding the time for you and I will call you back. If you want to stay in your Shavasana, you can. But if you want to end with me, give yourself a full body stretch and slowly make your way onto your right side, where you'll stay for a few cycles of breath. And then use your left palm to push yourself up, coming up into a seated pose. Rest your palms onto your thighs and sit up nice and tall. Ending your practice with some deep cycles of breath. And then reach your arms up overhead, bring them together in prayer. And then pull the hands down to the third eye as a reminder to have loving thoughts. And then bring the palms to the lips as a reminder to have loving words. And then bring the palms to the heart with a soft bow as a reminder to have loving actions towards yourself and towards others. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in you. Namaste.